I dropped out of college after 2 years. So that was
Dude, me too, man.
a very distinct example.
Let's go.
Where did you drop out, bro?
ASU.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
You don't seem like an ASU kid.
Nah, I don't know.
That's funny.
It was I was in business school at ASU for 2 years, and it was just such a ridiculous party school.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like, what I wasn't learning, even for my major, they were saying, you have to wait until your senior year and junior year to really get into your major. So we're just gonna like bore you for 2 years with electives, and
Makes no sense.
electives that you'll never use, right? Because it's a business. That's what school is. You could really graduate college in 2 years, but they drag it out.
I actually think that for someone who dropped out of college, like, I have a lot of great things to say about college. I think the social value of it is irreplaceable. I think the only reason college exists at the level it does, in my opinion, is because no one has been able to create the social value that college gives you outside of college. So, like, right now you're seeing all these people who are creating their Discord communities or their online communities, and I've had very good experiences with online communities, especially Creator Camp, which we both attended. But I still think there's nothing that rivals school as far as a place to provide friendships. But I think, especially with ChatGPT and the level that people can cheat at nowadays, that, like, schools are panicking because like, one of the main things that kept people in school were parents. They're like, oh, in my age, school is really valuable, so I'm going to make my kids go to school. And now the new parents, the millennials that are becoming parents, don't see it that way.
Yeah.
And so once that parental pressure drops off, it's kind of going to be like case by case, like what is most valuable. And if the colleges continue to like make us take these elective classes that had no value to our life, and the time opportunity cost of school stays very political, it's like that was like the thing with me, is there were so many times I was in class learning something that I knew I was never going to use in my life, and I was like, the time opportunity cost of this is so just invaluable.
Can I
Yeah, go ahead. I know I just ranted.
No, that was awesome. So I want to kind of elaborate more about what I think about the school system, the education system. Yeah. I think, all right, if you want to be a doctor or a scientist or a specific trade, then yeah, go to school. If you know exactly what you want to do from the jump, and you're like, this is what I'm going for, I want to be a nurse. Okay, yeah, then go to school for it. But if you don't know what you want to do, like specifically, I don't know, maybe decide that. Maybe take a few years off. Maybe take a gap year. Maybe go to Europe, have new experiences, and then come back and be like, I think this is what I want to do. Like, I don't understand the pressure to like figure it out right away, because what happens is when you have that pressure, you end up choosing something that you really don't love. You do it because A, your parents are pressuring you, B, your friends are doing something similar, or C, like you get a lot of money. And then like 10 years later, you're still doing that job, and maybe you've worked your way up a few years, but like something hits you and you realize that you have to drink every weekend, and you have to basically like fill in all this void, even though you don't realize what you're doing. But what you're doing is you're having to get in all these different vices to hide the fact that you don't love what you're doing. And people really don't love what they're doing. A lot of people don't love what they're doing. So I've taken the mantra that like life itself, there's no guarantees for happiness, whether you make money or you don't. So I would much rather just be happy doing what I'm doing than worry about the salary. And honestly, if you're smart enough, you can do both. You can be happy and you can make money, as long as you're willing to go outside the normal path, right? So. And
I mean, you have more authority to say what you just said, because I say that all the time on the podcast, but you are actually living out of your van. You've actually chosen a lifestyle like this, so you have a lot of authority and credibility to speak on it, which is always nice to have guests like you, where it's like, all right, I could be interviewing a millionaire right now, but are they as happy as you living out of your van? A lot of times the answer is no. And the other thing that I find wild with school, and specifically going in on that point that you mentioned about not knowing what you want to do, is I could go to a bank right now and be like, hey, can you give me a $5,000 loan for my podcast? And I could explain to them a really good brand vision. I could say, hey, my podcast is about soul wealth. I'm trying to change the way people measure success. I'm going to have these guests on. I'm going to attend Creator Camp, interview these people. I'm going to do 2 LinkedIn posts a week. And I could lay out this whole brand vision with them, and they would tell me no.
Right.
But if I said, hey, can you give me $100,000 that I can spend on school and I don't even know what I want to do after, but I can get a degree?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can take that. Go into debt with that.
It's such a scam.
Which is wild. And
It's almost like the system is designed to keep you in debt.
it is designed to keep you in debt. I could go on a whole Prussia rant if I wanted to. Because the American school system is based off a part of Germany.
I think I keep turning off the mic, dude.
It's okay if you turned it off because mine's on. We're sitting so close. It's back on. Don't worry.
All right.
It's back on.
We're good to go.
Yeah. Hold on. Now I'm paranoid about this. Let me just make sure it's plugged into the right holes. Are we good? All right. No time to be paranoid. Yeah. The school system in America is based off a part of Germany called Prussia, which is not called Prussia anymore. And Prussia came after one of the wars.
Yes.
And the whole point of Prussia was because the soldiers didn't listen in the war, so they wanted to create a system that would make people obey. It was literally a school system that makes you obey your leaders. And Germany was able to achieve a very strong country by creating people who just followed rules. And America was like, all right, Germany's a world power, let's copy their school system. Fine. Totally fine. But
So wasn't it like that's I was just like watching a video about this. Well, so it was Napoleon's army that like beat Prussia.
Yeah.
Or some army beat Prussia, and Prussia had like way more numbers than them.
Yeah.
And Prussia was like, why did we lose?
Yeah.
And it was because the army that beat them they were under fear. They weren't doing it. They weren't free thinking. They were under like a regime, and they were soldiers following orders. But the Prussian army, like you just said,
They're free
thinking. So the whole moral of that is like what free thinkers are dangerous to a military regime.
I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to speak acting like I'm an expert.
Just saw that. Yeah.
But I think the idea is that free thinkers are more likely to rebel, so it's bad for if you want to be a strong government, you don't want people who are more likely to rebel. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is people who follow orders create a stronger nation. But that's also how you live. Again, when you go back to soul wealth metrics, it goes, well, what do you value? Do you value power? Do you value freedom? Or do you value happiness? Because a lot of time, freedom is opposite of power. And so we're basically in a school system that trains you to be servants, trains you to not be free thinkers. And to me, that's another reason not to go to school.
Yeah.
But again, I think the more important part is to be aware. The thing is that you learn history, but who implements history? The government. If you were to grow up in Germany, you would learn a different history, and you grow up in a different country, you'd learn a different history. And I don't know which one's right. So
history is written by the winners, right?
Yeah, history's written by the winners. So it's just interesting. That's like a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah, dude, we can go deep with that one. Like.